Any time that you can get to spend in the outdoors with your son or your daughter as a dad, it's something very, very special. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
I love you.
I love you too.
So this hunt came about this year almost the same way it did last year in 2016 with my son Joey having a tag here in northern Washoe County for mule deer.
Every year around June-ish, early July, they start giving out names of tags.
Nevada has a youth draw, and unfortunately he's been in the non-draw unlucky category. Last year being his first year that he could put in, and this year he did not draw again. So a very good friend of mine who had some landowner tags for this unit was kind enough to let Joey have one of those tags last year and this year as well.
We always find a way to go hunting or do something anywhere.
Anytime that you can get to spend in the outdoors with your son or your daughter as a dad, it's something very, very special. I got to do that growing up with my dad. I was in a duck blind when I was 5 years old, and I got to go on my first deer hunt and observe how it all happened when I was 9. Kind of the same thing with my son Joey. He's been, I think his first deer hunt that he went on, he was 6 or 7, and he's been in a duck blind with me since he was 4 years old. He knows what it's all about. He's becoming a young man, and he's becoming his own hunter, outdoorsman, conservationist. He's on his own track. For me to be part of that, and for me to have a part in his growth as a hunter and an outdoorsman, that makes me a very proud father. He's becoming a great hunter in his own right. So to be able to spend this time on a deer hunt with him in our home state is something, that's very near and dear to my heart and very special to me.
Usually coming up here, you'll see snow once you get past Gerlach on the mountains. Usually the Warners near Cedarville where we stay. they're usually completely white by the time you start hunting. This year was unseasonably hot weather. I mean, no snow, no overcast, not even a breeze. And it was hard because the animals don't get pushed into their rut and they just like to bed all day, except for early in the morning and late at night when the sun's barely coming up and going down. So it's harder to spot them during the day when you usually want to see them. So yesterday was the first day we got to hunt after we had showed up the night before. You know, we got out there and it was only 20 degrees when we got out here and we unloaded the ranger, and we said, you know, maybe the weather forecast is wrong. Maybe it'll be cold. We'll get some weather and we'll see lots of deer. By about 10:30, it's 70 degrees and you're hunting in a t-shirt. First day we saw does, nothing much. I mean, like a few spikes and a tiny little forked horn. That was about it, and it was a little hard because, you know, you're so used to seeing tons of deer up here, and usually it's a debate whether to pass a deer up or not, or where you should go the next day if you'll see more deer or better deer.
To be in the outdoors with your son or your friends, whoever you're out there with, to laugh and joke and have a good time and see a lot of animals and go through adversity, because there is some adversity on every hunt that you go on. In particular, this hunt, we've been dealing with summer-like weather, and it's October 28th. This time of year, usually in Nevada, you're dealing with snow and wind, sometimes rain, and it's cold, and the highs might be in the high 20s, low 30s. And this year we didn't have that. It was hard at some points to find a lot of deer, but we did see a lot of deer. You know, a lot of deer moving around early, a lot of deer moving around late in the afternoon. But in the middle of the day, you just spend a lot of time behind the vortex glass, and you know, you can pick them out in the sagebrush or in the Quakies or wherever you're looking, you'll find them.
It was a little disappointing at first, but I knew things would pick up. We always have a good shot of seeing big deer. Last year, same situation, but it was just windy and rainy and cold, and we didn't see anything the first 3 days, and then the fourth day, lo and behold, there's this buck. So I had confidence, but it was still a little hard. We had gotten here a little late when we unloaded. We came up and we were going down these two canyons that we always usually see deer in. We started driving down these canyons and it was just deer and more deer and more deer. We pulled up on this group and there was probably about 8 or 9 total. And you know, me and my dad both throw binoculars up. It's like just as fast as we can. And I see a tiny little like forked horn 3x2. My dad's like, there's a big buck in there. We should probably shoot him. And I was thinking at first like, what? And I look a few yards down in the sagebrush and I just see this big rack moving around. I'm like, oh. You know, I got excited and we were getting pumped up, but we didn't know what to do. They were so close and they were just staring at us. So we got the gun out, the shooting stick. And they started walking towards us into this little depression right in between the two hills that were in front of us. We had to wait. We were having a tough time trying to figure out what to do because this had never happened to my dad before. In all his years of deer hunting, he's like, I've never seen the deer walk towards you and be, 50 yards from you. So the sagebrush is super tall. It's taller than me in these little canyons, and it's almost as tall as my dad, who's 6'1", 6'2". We were trying to get to a position where we could see all the deer, and it just wasn't working out. We walked up to the right side up this hill. We couldn't see anything. They were bedded down on the side towards us in this little depression, so we couldn't see. And then we went up on the left side, but the sagebrush was too tall. At that point, even the does couldn't see us. We were kind of in a bind trying to figure out what to do. And my dad's like, well, we don't know where they're gonna come out at, but if you get in a comfortable position where you know you can make a good shot, at least we have a chance if they walk out where we want them to, that we can get this deer. I said, why don't we walk up, I'll take the shooting sticks and lean up against a piece of sagebrush so I'm steady. This super tall sagebrush, taller than me by far. At that point, we were just like, why not? So we went and did that, and we waited there for about 45, 50 minutes before we saw all the does start to get up, and we were like, again, maybe that buck snuck out on us. And we were like, okay, we might have to pack up. And then lo and behold, you see the big rat coming out of this piece of sagebrush, and we were like, that's him for sure.
We've taken him to shooting schools, long-range shooting schools. We practice all the time. Joey shoots a lot. We're fortunate enough to be able to do that, and he's fortunate enough to be able to go and practice all the time. He knows from what Julie and I have taught him that the animal deserves a one-shot kill. It's not fair to the animal to rush a shot or wound an animal. Sometimes it happens. Nobody's perfect. It's happened to me a lot in my lifetime.
I was waiting, wait till he turns broadside, and the doe he was chasing had turned and looked like it was gonna walk downhill, took about 4 or 5 paces.
Are you kidding me? Dude! Oh.
That was awesome.
Wow, dude.
I just saw, I even saw the bullet hit. Like I saw his
Yeah.
skin go.
I'm so proud of you. Second mule deer, right?
Right.
I love you, man.
I love you.
That is so awesome. Give me some. You set up. That buck finally come out of the bottom with the does. That doe that I think was a hot doe that he was sniffing around, she turned, he got up on that ridge and she turned to kind of go downhill and he was like, oh. And so he turned broadside.
And stopped
And
right there.
I mean, the minute he turned broadside, and I mean, he just disappeared like that. I mean, you smashed him, dude. How do you feel?
I feel so good. I breathed and I saw impact, and at that moment I knew I was like, that was a good shot.
I gotta be honest with you, man. Like, I've been hunting for a long time, been blessed to do this for a long time. It makes me the most happy when you harvest an animal. The hunter and the outdoorsman and the conservationist that you're becoming makes me just the proudest dad in the world. You killed a great buck again.
Thanks.
Second year in a row. I think we should go check it out. In my lifetime, I've been on a lot of kills, I guess, for lack of a better term. Lots of animals, whether they were my own or friends or, family members. I have never seen a deer drop like that deer dropped today. The trigger went off and the deer hit the ground. I mean, it was like instantaneously. If you were looking for the perfect shot, Joey made it today. It was perfect, heart, lung, right in the chest. It doesn't get any better than that.
I saw its head, sticking out of a tiny piece of sagebrush, and I walk up to it, and as I get closer, it just gets bigger, and I'm like, you know what? I think we might have done better than we thought we did. This might be bigger than it looked in our binos in the scope, and it sure was, to me anyway. So my expression when I walked up, I was just so excited. I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe myself because, I didn't think this buck was tiny. I just didn't think it was as big as it turned out to be. So that was pretty sweet.
For me to be part of that, for him to harvest an animal, and for me to watch him set up, watch him make the shot, see his excitement, and I'm usually more nervous and kind of a wreck, more so than he is. He's calm, cool, collected. Made a great shot, one shot kill. It was perfect. The hugs after and the high fives and the I love you, son, I love you, dad. I mean, that's something that you will always have. Those memories will last a lifetime. I'm super blessed that I am able to spend this time with my son in the outdoors, just like I got to do, growing up as a kid with my dad and his grandfather.
Hunting with my dad's always fun. He's funny, we always have a good time, Even when I don't have the tag in my pocket, it's always fun to just bond and hang out and have a good time and go hunting, do what we love to do the most. Going places, seeing all these cool things, just not being in your everyday rut. It's special because you get to do something different and you get to hang out with the people you love and do what you love. So it's something different and it's special because you get to bond and spend time with, your dad.
A little bit emotional for me. Tried not to show that to him, tried not to show that on the camera. Yeah, I was a little choked up, a little teary-eyed, but how can you not be when you're so proud of of your son for the hunter that he's becoming, for the beautiful mule deer buck that he just shot here in our home state of Nevada. Hunting is a game of emotions. There's highs, there's lows, there's happy times, there's down times, sad times, and good times and bad times. If you spend enough time in the field hunting, you run a gamut of emotions. I can't say enough about my son. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so
I
much.
love you.
I love you too.